Indigenous fathers need support, a want and desire to be involved fathers, but it's hard to ask for help.
Welcome to the Dad Central Show, the podcast that helps overwhelmed dads conquer stress, build confidence, and become the father their family brags about. Join Drew Solon, a leadership coach and father of 5, and Ed Gow Jr., a fatherhood advocate and contributor to the Good Men Project, as we guide you through the journey of fatherhood. We'll show you how to connect deeply with your family, manage your time and energy better, and master tools to become the dad you want to be. Let's get started. What is up, everybody? It's Ed Gow Jr., Dad Central, and the T-shirt guy. The T-shirt guy.
Thank you for that new nickname.
Well, I want to see what's on the what's on your what's on your T-shirt.
So this T-shirt is when I went up to Sandy Lake, Ontario First Nation, and it was National Addictions Awareness Week in the Indigenous communities. So I was up there doing a workshop on fatherhood and talking about fathers and trying to engage fathers in their community. So that's what this T-shirt's all about.
And I know it's not the first time you've been part or visited an Indigenous community. What sort of insights have you gotten about Indigenous fathers?
Ooh, first and foremost, Indigenous fathers need support. There's intergenerational trauma in almost every community that I visit, and there's a real need for caring, for intentional and dedicated resources around the whole family in Indigenous communities, but especially fathers. And the one thing I'll also say is that I've seen they still a want and desire to be involved fathers, even though many of them have struggled and had difficult experiences with their own fathers. There's a real desire to be engaged. So, yeah, those are some of my insights.
Yeah, fantastic. That is so true. And I've had the same experiences when I've put myself in the Indigenous community. So I 100% agree with that. And I think it's a good segue today, our conversation topic about the lack of resources for dads and how to change it. And Drew, you brought a personal story that brought us to this conversation today. Would you like to share it with us?
Yesterday, I was on a panel with other dads at the National Together for Families conference. So it brings together family support networks and family support organizations across Canada, the US, Ireland, and I believe there were 1 or 2 other countries were represented. UK might have been in there as well. And so I was on this panel with Dave Saunders, who's the CEO of Lads to Dads, which is an organization supporting young fathers in Ireland. Greg, I forget his last name, but he's a father to like 14, and he actually works in family support. And he recovered from drug addiction. And anyway, and then Terrence, who's been through, he's supporting fathers as well, but he's a father to I think 3, and he's had to go through family court, child welfare, custody battles, really hard stuff, but has overcome all those things. And so this panel, one of the common themes that each of the dads talked about that really stuck with me is their personal experiences and the real lack of support or resources when they were really in need. Dave, as an example, he was a father at 18. Greg became a father at, I think, 14 and a half, and so they're young, obviously, but at every age and stage, there are challenges that dads face and there's needs. So what stood out to me is that their recollection of, one, how much they were in need as dads, and 2, when they were in need, there wasn't something that necessarily met their need. But eventually, they were able to grow themselves and get connected, and there were some fantastic resources that did help each of them. And now they're part of that process and system to be able to get back and support other dads. So that's where this came from.
Yeah. Must have been really powerful, not only to be as the panels, but just listening.
It was.
All right. Well, before we get right into it, we're going to cover the 3 things we're going to look at today is why is it hard for dads to find resources? Then we'll look at the barriers and reasons that dads can't find support. And then finally, hey, we want to have solutions. So, how to get support if you need it, dad. So, let's start off with why is it hard for dads to find resources? Drew, you want to kick off with that, or you want me to chat with that?
I'll start. I think there's two main. There really is not much that's dedicated to fathers in the marketplace, and we know there are a lot of commonalities in fatherhood, but I think every father's journey is unique, and it's there just really isn't the volume of programs or supports or things that will meet each dad where they're at in their stage. So that's one. The second is, and I think that this is true for myself, but again, I don't want to use my experience as a broad brush, but it's hard to ask for help. And men in particular, socialized culturally, we're the lone wolf, we're the like make we got to make it. You don't ask for help, and so I think that contributes to it.
I want to add on to that, and I want to add to what Drew said about, and I have three quick points. First of all, stigma, right? A lot of dads, fathers, male caregivers feel uncomfortable asking for help or discussing parenting challenges due to societal expectations, right? Men don't want to fail. If you're not doing it right, you're weak, etc. And also the whole aspect of masculinity in regards to asking for help. Another aspect from me, my lens is social and cultural barriers. You know, traditional gender roles often deprioritize fatherhood and parenting resources, and it's not as bad as it used to be, but there's still a lot of barriers out there that fathers are seen as secondary caregivers, not as equal caregivers, secondary caregivers. And then also the lack of programs. Like Drew and I have been in this space for a long time. There's still not a lot of programs out there for dads. And so with all that I'm saying, these three things can lead to feelings of isolation, frustration, and certainly uncertainty, especially for new or single fathers. So that's what I wanted to chat about that. Drew, do you want to add?
Yes, that second point is really important. Can you say it again?
Well, there was stigma and then the culture and social barriers. You know, how
Mhm.
gender roles often deprioritize, and I thought you'd like that word, fatherhood and parenting resources. And a lot of times it's not as prevalent as it used to be, but still there's a mindset out there that fathers are secondary caregivers, not equal
Yeah.
caregivers.
I'm going to share a story, and I don't want it to be received in the wrong way. So I'm going to say the point of sharing this is not to highlight this person, but to recognize the truth that's there's is often a lack of awareness and understanding that fathers are crucial. Part of the panel was talked about mental health, and one of the comments in the chat was, "I didn't realize dads could suffer from postpartum depression. I just found this information out. It's so important." And I guess I'm not sure. Again, the person was sharing from this place of, "Hey, like this is it's good we're talking about this," but people still aren't aware that dads are parents, dads care about parenting, dads have like the ability to engage in parenting as a primary, and it matters culturally, socially. Some of these things are way behind, and so I think that's a hard one, and it's because we can get trapped in it. And we can feel frustrated and discouraged, like, what the hell? This is ridiculous. How could you not, oh, your dad, you're babysitting, way to go. When these things come up, I think it's important for dads to recognize that doesn't relate to who you are as a dad. It doesn't relate to your goals and aspirations and who you're going to show up as for your kid. So don't allow that to derail you. Don't create an extra barrier for yourself just because other people aren't aware or they're not as engaged as they need to be about the importance of your role in your child. So, but I think that can happen. So I just wanted to mention it.
No, that's really good. Good, really, really good. Why the resources are lacking. So then I want to move into, I guess another thing. There's so much we could go into this one about, and I think we've touched on it lightly or a little bit, but the barriers and reasons that dads can't find support. I think maybe it's an extension of what we've already chatted about, but there may be barriers other than cultural. Also, I would also say systemic. Again, when I entered this space many years ago, there were a lot of, and still a lot of programs for mothers, and nothing against that. Nothing against that. But there's still a significant lack of programs systemically for fathers. Want
Yeah.
to go ahead.
I'm going to use this as one example, but again, it's may not to be paint everything with a broad brush. You know, in Ontario or in Canada, there's funding. It's called CAPC and CPNP. So they stand for different things. They're designed really to focus on the child's health and development. I would guarantee you that the bulk of those funds only fund mother programs, but fathers are a crucial part of the child development process. And so there is a limited amount of funding that these organizations who receive this funding to actually do programming for dads. Some of them do, and some are successful, and some do great work. And so, and there's a desire and a want to do more with fathers, but they are limited in terms of they have no funds to do the work. So the other step is in Canada, there's no national fatherhood organization that receives any form of dedicated funding from the government, period. So if you don't put any money towards it, how can you help to address the gap that's there? In contrast, our friends in Quebec, provincially, there's a lot more money that actually goes directly to fund initiatives for fathers and engaging fathers. And there's a lot more private money that's been earned through grants and corporations and other things that, I mean, and to the tune of millions of dollars that funds support that's dedicated for fathers and engaging fathers and supporting fathers. It's hard. What one of those barriers is nobody actually invested in it.
Yeah. Can you imagine if the amount of money that the province of Quebec puts into fatherhood was also matched for the rest of the provinces in Canada?
I think it'd be a fantastic start. Then the challenge would be how does it get leverage to maximize and serve those in need? So,
Good stuff. As we move on here, I also want to talk about addressing the resource gap for fathers. And this is like a call to action for organizations out there. And I want people out there, those who can do that, I want you to expand father specific content and programs. And Drew and myself, we work with a number of organizations, but not enough that deal with the family. And I want, this is just me, Drew didn't tell me to do this. I want to challenge these programs that address the family. If you don't have father specific programs, why not? Why not? You know, I really feel really strongly about that. And also building and leveraging online communities. There are a lot of online communities out there. Also, a lot of fathers work. Hey, workplace, provide support for fathers. You know,
mhm.
things like paternity leave, etc. I know in Canada we offer it. I know the United States doesn't offer it that much, but you know, have those things like paternity leave. And also, let's make it normal to seek help and resources. So I want to challenge fathers to take the initiative to seek out parenting resources. Just want to put that out there. Got on my hill for a minute. Now I'm going back down.
No,
Anything
I'm
else?
right there with you.
Anything else you want to add in regards to that?
I guess I want to add that the goal that I think we have is to meet you where you're at. If you work with fathers or families, we'd like to meet you where you're at. If you're a father, we'd like to meet you where you're at. And so, yes, there's a call to action, but in terms of where I'm coming from is that if you would like help to engage fathers more, we have resources to help you. And so we're going to leave that in the show notes for this episode. And I'd encourage you to book a quick call with me where we can actually review what you're doing and give you a next step as how to build momentum towards support for fathers. If you work with fathers, and if you're a dad, I think I'd like to do the same thing. If you're struggling with anything related to your fatherhood and your family, I'd like to be able to meet you where you're at. There'll be a link. You can book a free consultation or free call to help get you moving forward, or to at least know where to go next to get the support that would be valuable for you. And here's why: because you as a dad are so important to your children, to their future. And ultimately, if we're going to make positive changes in this world, it all starts at home. So that's what I want to add.
Okay, I'm just gonna, if you, I'm gonna close out with some quick things. So first of
Of
all,
course.
yeah, I want fathers. Here's some practical tips. Be proactive. I want you to search for father-specific blogs, websites like Dad Central.
Dad Central, that's it.
Yes, there you go. Podcasts, the show we do, and books that resonate with
Dad Mentor.
There you go. And books that resonate with your experiences. Create your own network. Yeah, certainly, we'd love you to be part of our network, but also create your own network. And also I want you to share any resources. Hey, dads, fathers, and male caregivers, are there any resources out there that have been helpful for you? We'd like to know about them so we can share it with the Dad Central community. 100%. I want that to be done. And I want to be part of the conversation. Be part, get engaged, start with other fathers, start with here, be part of the conversation. So I want to just, in closing, remind that being proactive about seeking out resources is critical, and not to be alone in the fatherhood journey. Anything else you want to close out with, Drew?
Well said, Ed. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. So as always, want to thank you for giving the most important thing, your time, to the conversation. Share it out, like us, and we'll see you soon. As always, don't just manage your time, manage your energy. And also remember that our show is sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. And Dove Men Plus Care believes that care is the best of a man, because when men care for themselves
And others,
there's
a positive impact.
I love that. Co-creatively done. All right. Don't you like that? Take care, everybody, and have a great day.